Welcome back to War Thunder and welcome aboard the Heinkel 219 A-7, which is the rank 4 battle rating 4.3 German premium interceptor heavy fighter strike fighter overall multi-purpose role plane, and it has a impressive arrangement of firepower. It has two 30mm Mk103s with 200 rounds, two 30mm Mk108 with 200 rounds, and two 20mm MG151 cannons with 600 rounds, and everything is lined up perfectly centralized. I think the MK108s are in the wing roots, but it's very centralized firepower, giving it an astonishing 15.38 kilogram per second burst mass. This is one of the cheapest premiums, especially at tier 4, and I think to this day it's the only user-made plane. So if you consider buying it, keep in mind that a certain percentage of the gold needles you spend gets back to the designer of this. And I think this plane in the current state of War Thunder is fully worth it. Not everything that leads to the performance of this plane is actually your own performance. There are two things. First of all, enemy planes, enemy fighters in particular, and then also how the gun works. Now, let's talk about the MK103s. They are the long-barreled version, and they have a high muzzle velocity, and they can equip HVAP. And HVAP was the thing for a very long time. It could literally three-shot bombers, even the heaviest, when you hit them in the fuselage. They just blew up, and that made the TAU 152C3 work for me when I sped it in air RP. And it was really easy. Just line up the bombers, pull the trigger, and they die. And so the plane was really nice, but the mine shells underperformed heavily. They sparked all the time, did nearly no damage, and even a single 20mm seemed to perform so much better. And that was kind of a shame because I was looking forward to the 30mm. But furthermore, now it seems like it is reversed. You need multiple hits with the with the HVAP. But let's look at the performance of the mine shells, both on the MK103 and the MK108. Both can do the very same on Sicily to the tank columns. Now if you're fast enough, the tank column has not spread out too much and you can line them up. Watch this. In a single run, 9 medium tanks from the front, and those are Matildas. And when we compare it to the normal Matilda armor stats, it should have 75mm in the front. And while I think that mine shells should really perform well in the game, better than they do against aircraft, I cannot think why they should destroy medium tanks from the front. Or the rear. That were 14 ground units in 2 runs, and at this point I was really thinking about, turning home to base, rearm, refuel, and, unjam the jammed gun. I at least did jammed one gun. Now, look at this. I made over 9,000 score points. Okay, that puts me on top of the team as long as no one else is ground striking, and I think that is a bit of a shame. Look how easy it was. I did not climb. I did not, do anything particular, and I made such a massive strike run. Now, you can argue if this should be or shouldn't be, but it's the score points that, how many fighters should you shoot down in your fighter to get even close? There are warbond missions that tell you, okay, do 1,600 score points in air RB, and win the match and you win 80 war bonds. 80 war bonds should be very difficult to get, or rather difficult. But with this plane, it's a joke. I did it over 5 times in two really no-brain style strike runs. By the way, I'm a bit sorry about my voice. I'm kind of slightly sick, like the Spitfire. That brings me to the next point. This Spitfire had literally every advantage except the head-on firepower. And what did he do? Go into a head-on. And believe me when I say this is not a single incident. This is the tragedy of War Thunder, that so many pilots use a very capable aircraft and just throw it into a head-on. Especially Spitfires. Spitfires, the noobs of the sky, the very easiest plane to make work, and they're going to head-on. Talking about head-ons, now I talked about the massive firepower. I talked about, well, let's talk about this right now. It is a twin-engine fighter, so even when one engine gets heavily damaged, you still can limp home. And it has decent flight characteristics, and especially in a downward facing spiral, when you are at altitude, you can actually keep on turning with the right use of flaps. And there is one thing about the pilot. You have two pilots, one sitting forward facing, one sitting backwards facing, and between them are two seats, and they count as armor plates. And I actually lost my forward facing pilot, but the rearward facing pilot still flies on, which is kind of amusing. So the match is about to end. I managed to hook a few P-47s on my tail, and they catch up rather fast. So if the match would have not ended around about now, I would have tried to drag them into the AAA fire of my base. But the match ended. And let's have a quick look at the post-battle results. And we can see that for one airplane kill and 15 ground units, I got nearly 500,000 Silver Lions and just short of 5,000 modification research points. No boosters or modifiers applied to this, as I'm currently not researching anything. Nearly 10,000 score points in easy mode, putting me on top of the team. Now, this is a no-brainer for me, okay? But there is also one more no-brainer. I actually did it with a around about 600% Silver Line booster in combination of a 500 and a 150 and a 30% Silver Line booster. And yeah, that's the Heinkel 219 A-7 for you. It's a rather fun plane to fly. It is not overpowered when facing other planes. They just make it look overpowered, because when all you have to do is to line up those shots and just pull the trigger, 4 30mm, 2 20mm, mine shells everywhere, high density of shells. You expect enemies to die, and they die. But I just can't get it. Whenever somebody just pulls up from the head-on, I can't do anything, because the muzzle velocities of those 30mm is rather slow. Even from the MK103s, they're rather slow, so you can't pull up in time to just spray it away. Yeah, sometimes it works, but in general, it doesn't work. And I think how the plane works currently, with the mine shells being better tank destroying shells than the actual HVAPs, especially when attacking from the front, this is just broken. Now, at the same time, I have to say that for a very long time, Allied teams had a huge advantage, especially American planes with their 50 cals, that they just simply could destroy nearly every target on the map with 50 cals. And they so had the advantage, especially P-51s, P-47s, and numerous other planes could destroy pillboxes with the stock 50 cals from under 400 meters when they aimed for the roof, and so on. And now we see the tuning up from the Germans since a few patches with the Tau 152C3 and this plane and numerous other planes like the Do 335s. They also have the long-barreled MK103 3 cannon, which now can ground strike effectively if you know what you're doing. But, overall, I think this plane lives and dies by the enemy's stupidity. And you just can't feast on them. And I had numerous matches where I had multiple head-ons and I won them all, and I made like 3, 4 kills. And so I wonder, when will the player base learn, and what actually is the player base made on? Because all the people that watch YouTube videos actually don't do this nonsense. And so I guess it's just the casual players. But the amount of casual players in comparison to the more educated players, that worries me a bit. Let me know in the comment section what you think about this. Give this video a like if you did, subscribe if you want to see more, and we will see each other in the skies of War Thunder.